Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard ruling is probably out by now. I did not have time to cover it. I have some stuff I need to do today. So I will be covering that tomorrow. Twitch, we may be watching some political results. Maybe, I don't know. I think we'll end too early for that to really be meaningful, but it'll be another just chatting, the last one, and then we're going to start Baldur's Gate 3 on Thursday, and we may move into, I don't know, Valhalla, maybe Assassin's Creed, maybe Legion. I don't know. We'll talk about it. If you like this sort of consensus stuff, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. Now, it is going to be a charged week between the Johnny Depp Amber Heard ruling that no matter how it comes down, somebody is going to be really upset. A whole lot of somebodies are going to be really upset. And then the election, again, no matter how it goes down, somebody's going to be really upset, right? A lot of somebodies are going to be really upset. No matter what the outcome, some group is going to feel betrayed or hopeless. And, just because it's not your group doesn't mean you shouldn't care about that. And it really seems like it's not even polarization anymore in our society. It's straight up division, right? Polarization is two poles of the same rod. Like, there's the eraser end of the pencil and there's the pointy end of the pencil, but it's all still a pencil. That's not what things are like anymore. It's like two completely different spheres, right? Like there's a mug here and a glass here and they don't connect at all. Why do I have a brandy snifter here? I don't know. I was drinking this fancy, like, sparkling water ginger ale flavor stuff out of a brandy snifter to feel fancy. Hi, Momo. But it's because everything's so divided, because people don't see things anymore as everybody wants to get to the same, what do you have on you? The same end goal. We just don't agree on what that means. People more and more believe that anybody who doesn't see things exactly the way they do is somehow evil or phobic or suppressing their rights. I actually had somebody argue on Twitter that outlawing slavery was taking away the rights of slave owners and transporters. I shit you not. But there's a shining example of people, their framing on that was that people had the right to buy and sell human beings instead of that paradigm being an infringement on the rights of the people who were bought and sold. And that is how screwed up we are right now. People can't agree on what fascism means. People can't agree on what tyranny means. People can't agree on what authoritarianism means. And I think to some extent, especially the word tyranny is one of those words that it has a real emotional charge. So people use it to mean whatever they want it to mean in a given moment for a rhetorical flourish. But words matter. The problem is, yes, words matter. Language is also more of an art than a science. And different things mean different things to different people, right? And I actually looked this up. There are two meanings of any word. Surprise, surprise for people who insisted there weren't all last week on Twitter and were very angry at me for not apologizing for using a use of the word that was totally correct. So I apologized. I said, sorry, I said it in a way that people didn't like. And they were saying that was, sorry you were offended. It's like, no, that would be sorry you didn't like the way I used the word. But do you see how we're getting into this nonsense language rabbit hole of sophistry that does not matter in the grand scheme of things? The point is, whether or not somebody appears to be putting an effort and whether or not people appear to be receptive to or accepting of that effort, recognizing that no one can put in a perfect effort, right? Not when it comes to communication. Communication is highly subjective. And here's basically the breakdown with why. Because every word has a denotative meaning. The official definition, right? Right, Momo? Yeah. See, Momo's a cat. We all know what cat means. Cat can also mean cool cat, which is sort of dated, right? There are other terms. Oh, Momo's leaving. He doesn't like to be used as an example. But there are other synonyms for cat that mean other things. I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube without getting in trouble because it may be vulgar. But it's immortalized with Looney Tunes. I taught putty tat. I did taught putty tat. Transfer Tweety Bird's D's to S's, and you get the word. And some people are like, just say the word, it's not so bad. And then there are other people like, no, that's a very bad word. Good, don't say it. Do you see what I mean? The connotations, the connotative meaning for the synonym for cat, which at one point just meant cat, right? Back, you could say that word in a cheeky way in the 90s on radio, because I'm too sexy, use that as a lyric. But, we have become so rigid in our offense standards that even words that have dual meanings like that are banned from all contexts, most notably in academic settings, where people are no longer distinguishing from using a hurtful word to discuss why it's hurtful as just an academic examination of language, and using the word directed at someone as a slur. And the word slur was actually the word I got in trouble for using, that people got mad at me for. Because I said I considered a certain term used in a particular context a slur. To me, a slur is any term intended to insult or defame somebody. And if you look it up in the dictionary, that's one of the accepted terms of the word. So you are slurring a person's reputation, right? I read a lot of much older books. Perhaps this is a dated use of the term, but it is a valid one. But of course I got the no one ever said that anyway, ever. I pointed out numerous sources where other places refer to the term I thought of as a slur, but no, it's not. It's our way of protecting ourselves. So, okay, their connotation was an affirming term for whatever reason, but my connotation is that they were using the term way too broadly. They were using it outside of its original meaning, and we're just slapping it around with too wide a brush, and at that point, it becomes a slur, right? The same way the R word was once kind of an acceptable medical term. The problem was it started creeping into a whole bunch of things that actually aren't the thing it was originally describing as, which is basically, it's, the French word for late, en retard, means late. So you can't say that in English anymore. I first came across that with the work I did with epilepsy awareness, that people in those circles really didn't like that word because they're like, we just have seizures. We're not stupid. Like, we can function. We just have this one condition. And all right? Like, nobody's suggesting we take the French language word for late out of everybody's vocabulary. Just don't use it in that context. That makes absolute sense to me. But there's a shining example of a word that means different things in different points, and denying that is either bad faith or it is, and here's another word that has different connotations to different people, ignorant. to me, ignorant is not calling a person stupid. It just means you don't know something yet you can learn. Other people treat being told they're ignorant of something as horribly offensive, kind of like ignorant means bigoted to them. And so I try to watch the usage of that word so that people know I'm not slurring them, right? Slur has different meanings too. Slurring your speech, like when you're drunk, like that's a form of slur too, right? But this is a shining example of a whole bunch of people got super, super mad and super, super offended because they didn't like the way I told them I didn't like a word they were using. That's how stupid things have gotten. And in this point, I do mean stupid. It's dumb. Like, this is a race to the bottom. And I'm bringing this up now in this context because we are, like I said, with this Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, people are going to be at each other's throats. Again, no matter what the verdict is. I personally think they're both screwed no matter what, because this was just so ugly. People want to forget it. Then with the election, then with COVID still going on, sensitivities are going to be running super high. And so I think it's very important to keep in mind both what a word denotes, meaning what it, in its most narrow, in its most technical, won't say narrow, most technical way means, right? Red is the color red. It can also mean communist. Does it always mean communist? No, my hair is not communist. Okay. There's a shining example. Context matters. Connotations matter, right? I would highly suggest to everyone going into this very charged time that if somebody uses a word that catches you off guard, and give them the benefit of the doubt in your own mind. And if there's an opportunity to clarify, what did you mean by that word? Take it. Now, in the instance last week, I actually did give the person using the word I didn't like, that I'm not going to repeat because people just freak out over it. But I asked them twice what it meant. They declined to answer. And so I looked it up. And then they got mad at me for looking up a word and speaking over somebody's own experience. At that point, this person is easily dismissed because you can't speak over something someone never said. And then they blocked me. So I don't know how I can speak over somebody who has me blocked. Sometimes it is just the other person. But the reason I can say that with certainty and don't have to worry too overly much is because I did give them the opportunity to tell me what the word meant. If they had told me this is what it means to me, I'm like, okay, I will take it in the spirit it's given, right? I will stand by, I don't like this word because of the connotations for me, but I understand that's not how you're using it. Fair. But if somebody doesn't tell you what the word means to them, there's no ability to communicate effectively, because that's going to happen with every even remotely difficult conversation, right? Now, they wanted to force their meaning of words I used on me as well. So again, marker of bad faith, but still, I do think, because I saw this, a few weeks before with sexual preference, where it was the opposite side of the culture war coming at me, insisting that term had never been used as a pejorative or as a slur, or it wasn't inherently a slur before that day. I know I'd heard it. And yet people got all mad because they were trapped in solipsism. They'd never heard it before. To them, it had never been used ever. I know it has. I don't know what to tell you. And there's another example of people have the right to be guarded when someone uses that term. But again, give somebody a right to clarify what they mean Judge them based on that answer, not their incomplete meaning of what a particular term means. Because, yes, a lot of people do use preference and orientation or preference and a bunch of other things interchangeably. Yes, some people do. There are also some times where you don't have to be as careful with your language as you do in others. These are common sense things. The problem is, in my opinion, and you guys can tell me what you think of this, I'll leave it here. Because good faith is not being given, because benefit of the doubt is not being given, a lot of people are just saying, people are going to get offended no matter what I do, so it's not worth putting in the work. Fuck it all. And I understand that position, even though I don't share it. It's really frustrating for me sometimes that it takes a lot longer to say something because I can't say a word. I do not like the climate of censorship we're in right now, that words are policed that strongly that you can't even use something for educational purposes. I think that's a sign we're living in intellectually very dark times. But we're not living in intellectual times at all. We're living in emotional times. And there's no point in denying that. And all we can really do is work to solve problems so things settle down. Because here's the connotation behind all these things that people get offended by that you don't find offensive. That offense is tied to, in the case of a good faith actor, a bad experience in their past. And they can't control that. And you're not responsible for that. But it goes a long way when you validate that the bad experience happened, the bad experience is meaningful, and a person's not to blame for their own bad experiences. Okay? Hopefully that helps. It's going to be a rocky week, guys. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Thanks for watching.